Hello caffeine fiends and welcome to another coffee review video for www.getbeaned.com. I'm Vince, the Mean Bean Machine, and today we're looking at Origin Coffee's Veracruz coffee. Now before I go any further, do smash those like and subscribe buttons and hit that bell button for notifications on new videos and anything else we might be doing. Now, this coffee, like I said, is from Origin, who are a roaster who are quite well known, certainly in London and around where I'm buying coffee, and it's been a little while since I've bought anything from Origin. I even thought I'd done a video on some of their stuff and I couldn't find one, so I obviously haven't. So it's obviously been a long time since I tried Origin, but I have tried them before and they're known for a reason. They're a lovely roaster. And they've actually just opened up a roastery in Cornwall, a new roastery in Cornwall. And part of the reason I have this coffee today is that they're running a competition to, win a visit to their roastery. If you buy, this coffee, there's other prizes available, but that's the main prize. So, I picked this up because they are well known and I haven't tried them for a while. And then that was just a little kind of kicker. But this is yet another Colombian coffee. I'm very big on my Colombian coffee at the moment, predominantly because they do those kind of lovely chocolatey flavours really well. So a lovely, nice Colombian coffee is what I really enjoy personally. So I've picked this up. And this is, like I say, from Colombia. And it's also what they call an extended fermentation, is made by this process of extended fermentation. So in layman's terms, that's where they keep putting each new batch of coffee that is grown or processed on top of the last one, therefore kind of lengthening the fermentation period of the whole batch altogether. So you get this kind of richer flavour. With that in mind, I'm sort of expecting a slightly alcoholic hint to it just because of the longer fermentation period. That may or may not be the case, but that's just... Certainly I've experienced that with more experimental fermentation processes. I don't know if you'd necessarily call this experimental, but because it's kind of lengthened, I'm expecting more of that sweetness to come out, more of the sugars to come out. Now, on that note, it does say pomegranate, cherry and milk chocolate in the tasting notes. Now, the milk chocolate is instantly what drew me in. That is a flavour that I am drawn to. I love rich, creamy coffees with that chocolatey sweetness. Now, it specifically says milk chocolatey, so I'm not expecting kind of a really bassy note like you might get with a dark chocolate note, but it will be on the lower end. But by saying milk chocolate, suggests a kind of creaminess and a richness there. The cherry, really sweet, possibly even acidic. And again, if it had said maybe cherry liqueur or, cherry schnapps or whatever, I would have maybe gone, oh, that's because of the fermentation process, but it doesn't. It just says cherry. So I'm wondering if that means a slight biting acidity or just kind of a real tart sweetness. But I'm expecting kind of one or the other from that cherry. And then pomegranate is the really odd flavour note. It's not a flavour note you come across a lot, but it's not kind of bizarre. It's not a tasting note I kind of go, oh, they've made that up. It is one that you kind of go, oh, right, I understand that tasting note, but it doesn't come up a lot. So I'm not really sure what to expect from pomegranate. Again, maybe that kind of sweet biting acidity or just kind of a real fruitiness from it. We'll give it a go as an espresso and try it out, and also as the Oat Latte in a second. Now, as I said, I ordered this online from Origin Coffee for $10.25 for 250 grams. So, like I say, I aim for the £7 mark, which I think is probably a little on the cheap side now for coffee. I think coffee is moving more towards the £10 for a 250 gram bag. It's harder and harder to get kind of decent quality coffee at a cheap price, and I think that's quite a good thing, probably because you're getting more direct trade, and farmers are producing it in lower batches, but also because of you know, global warming and climate change, it's harder to produce decent coffee. So it is becoming more expensive. So 10.25 is not necessarily out of the realms of, you know, a reasonable price. I'd start to bulk now probably at about the £12 range, but £10.25 is not bad for 250 grams. So that's the price we're looking at. So like I say, we'll grind this up, see what we think as an espresso shot, and I'll give you my reactions. So there is our espresso shot. The chroma's dissipated ever so slightly, but when you open the bag, there is a very chocolatey smell from the beans that comes off the beans. So I am expecting the chocolate flavour to be quite strong, actually. So we'll give this a sip, see what we think as an espresso, see if any of those flavours come to the fore straight away. Give it a quick smell again. Not as chocolatey as when you get the beans, but you are getting it through the espresso shot itself. So yeah, so there is that chocolatey richness, not as creamy as I thought. I imagine that will come to the fore more with milk, obviously. And as I thought, there is a slight hint of that kind of alcoholic bite, that kind of slight, you know, tickling of the tongue that you get with alcohols. It's not very strong, but there is a sense of that. With anything that's fermented, you get that kind of, you know, that little bite to it. Mostly just getting chocolate, not getting the fruitiness. Mind you, it does smell very fruity. It smells quite pomegranate. That's not a word, but there is a fruitiness to it when you smell it. I guess, yeah, that cherry is maybe there. Not a strong cherry taste, but it is there. What it is lacking, it's got that fruitiness, but there's no cherry bite, so your brain kind of doesn't go cherry because there's no kind of bite at the tip of your tongue. There's none of that acidic sweetness, but the flavour's definitely there. So the chocolate is kind of bassy note, and then cherry just sitting on top of that. Not getting a lot of pomegranate, to be honest. Those are the two main flavours I'm getting from the espresso shot. Perhaps more things will be drawn out with the milk, but I wouldn't say it's a milk chocolate flavour though, because it's still quite bassy. Not as bassy as I would expect if it were to say dark chocolate, so perhaps that's why they've gone with milk chocolate. But yeah, there's that kind of darker note just lying at the bottom there, and then a slight sweet spark that actually probably comes through more as an aftertaste. So you kind of sip it and you go, I'm not getting a lot. Oh, there's the chocolate. And then you kind of swallow it or roll it around your tongue, and you go, and the cherry follows up. Yeah, not kind of bitingly so, but that berry fruitness is really there, actually, really coming through. The more I think about it, the more I'm enjoying that kind of berry fruitness. So it kind of builds on you, it grows on you. I'm going to give it another sip. Yeah, I think, that sort of sweet fruitiness just sits at the front of the tongue, and then you swallow it and you kind of get this nice rich dark tone from the back of your throat, and the two marry up quite nicely, the kind of chocolate cherry. So yeah, those notes are there. I'm not getting pomegranate at all, which you know, if I think about it, I kind of go maybe, but I feel that is me overthinking it. I'm not getting it a lot, but certainly the chocolate and cherry is there, are there. Sorry, I don't really know. There's a slight tartness that could perhaps be described as pomegranate, but cherry is quite a bold flavour, so it's not. if it's there, it's well hidden, you know, behind that fruitiness. But my word, that is fruity. It's really fruity. You know, where on first kind of inspection, you're kind of going, and then after a while, you're kind of going, that fruitiness is really, really kind of consciously there, which is does not happen a lot. Wow. Yeah, really fruity. Which is not what I expected it, because I bought it for the chocolatey tones. We'll give it a go as an oat latte, bit of oat milk, see what is dampened, see what is drawn to the fore. Maybe the chocolatey flavour then comes out a bit more. Maybe the pomegranate comes out a bit more, but I feel the cherry will probably be dampened a little because it's just so strong there, actually. Weirdly fruity for a... Usually when you get a coffee that uses chocolate as a description, that is the kind of overriding note. And that fruitiness is just powering. It's very wow. Yeah. I'm enjoying that, but it's not what I expected. So we'll give it a go as a latte, see how I feel about it then. So there we have it as the latte. I'm sort of expecting more chocolatiness, less cherry, or less of that kind of fruitiness. The cherry will still be there. Such an overwhelming flavour in this, I feel. And I'm hoping to discover more of that pomegranate. But, you know, I don't see, you know, if I can't particularly identify it in the espresso shot, I can't see how I'd identify it in the latte. We will see though. I'm quite happy with that pour, so let's give it a go. So I think the creaminess of the milk really, sorry, I've got some in the moustache. The creaminess of the milk really complements the chocolate in terms of it is more milk chocolatey. It does become a milder tone, but kind of comes to the fore a bit more, so it becomes this lovely creamy rich chocolatey drink, which is what I buy it for. You know, why I'm attracted to chocolatey tasting notes. But that fruitiness, certainly that cherry is gone, but I guess maybe that pomegranate is there because there's a little fruity pop, I guess, that just kind of tickles the tongue and you kind of go, that's not the biting cherry, but it's there. And yeah, maybe that pomegranate is there. I'm not saying I'm not struggling to identify it. It's just not, for such a strong flavour, it's not coming through as strongly as you'd expect. And the cherry is just so kind of prevalent. But chocolate and cherry as two flavours go together, you know, really well. And I'm really enjoying this taste, this coffee, you know, like really enjoying it. And I'd be tempted to say it's one of my favourite coffees if I could just pick out more if I could just understand those notes a bit more, if I could just pick out more of the pomegranate and go, yeah, that's there. But the chocolate cherry works lovely, you know, really nicely. And as a latte, that's a beautiful latte. I'm not bigging myself up, I mean it tastes beautiful. It could have been better made, but you can only do so much, you know, within your own abilities. But my word, the chocolate cherry is really there, but the milkiness just tones it all down just a little bit. Just to this kind of nice low level, so you get the creaminess of the milk, and then just underneath it, you kind of going, there's something to that. You think about it, and there's the richness of the chocolate and the sweetened cherry flavour, and you kind of go, yeah, that's really, and it's nice that it's not a biting cherry, as I mentioned earlier, because otherwise it would kind of take away from that latte flavour. Or not latte flavour, that kind of rich creaminess, if there was this kind of biting acidity coming through at you. And I don't think it would work particularly well as a latte, but as a latte, in its current form, that's beautiful. And it's strange that I like it more as a latte than as the espresso shot with such a strong fruitiness to it, because I feel fruitier flavours lend themselves more to black coffee. Personally, that's personally. You know, black coffee or an espresso shot. And here we've got this kind of lovely chocolate cherry creaminess that, yeah, as a latte, I really enjoy that. I mean, that is something. Wow. Anyway, I'm going to go away, think about this, finish my coffee, write up some notes, and I'll give you my final thoughts in a little bit. Final thoughts on that. I was so tempted to give this 5 stars, and the reason I settled on 4 is, 1, nothing in life is perfect. I don't think I can really justify giving anything 5 stars. And 2, because of that lack of pomegranate that it said was there, and it just took up so much of my headspace of like, pomegranate? I've not particularly tasted that, and it wasn't really there anyway, and it was kind of like, oh, that's something new and exciting I wanted to try, and it didn't really come out. There are pops of pomegranate, but it just wasn't there for me. I'm aware this is like the 3rd coffee in a row that I've given 4 stars. I'm just going through a period of really good coffees, to be honest. It's not like I'm like, yeah, all of these coffees are great. I mean, all of those coffees were great, but I'm not like every single coffee is great. You know, I have had some 3 stars and some 2 stars. I just, you know, am very aware that I've given the last 3 4 stars. And this falls into that category. Because for $10.25, which is now becoming more of a standard price, fine, lovely Colombian coffee, you know, and it comes out nicely as an espresso. So my final notes really on that is the very prominent cherry flavour. Initially I was like, there's no cherry, and then bam, it hits you kind of like 2-3 seconds later. So you swallow and you kind of go, oh, I'm getting chocolate, and then suddenly that cherry kind of rushes in on you, which is quite a nice experience if you think about it. You just kind of, you're eating it on your tongue, and then you're kind of going, no, chocolate, oh, there's the cherry, which is quite pleasant. And then there are those rich chocolate notes that really complement it as a milky drink. As a latte drinker, I like that a lot. Not a lot of biting acidity, which I expected from cherry, but it's more the fruity flavour, not the acidity, so it's fair enough. And slight pops of pomegranate, but not particularly strong. And it's, if it were maybe a bit more there, I'd be so tempted to give it 5 stars. Like I say, I really doubt I'm ever going to give anything 5 stars. It would have to be a hell of a coffee to get, you know, perfect marks. And I'm aware this is an opinion-based thing. Like, this is a very objective system. So even something that I don't like is probably still a perfectly good coffee, and something that I love, you know, is not going to be to everyone's taste. But on those grounds, I absolutely adore this coffee. The cherry chocolate, wow, and the real fruity, I cannot express how unexpectedly fruity that was. And I just thought, oh yeah, it'll have a kind of nice bite to it. And no, that real kind of sweet fruitiness is right up there. It's not really kind of sweet and sugary sweet, again, because there's no bite to it, but that lovely fruity flavour definitely is there. So it gets 4 stars from me and a thumbs up. Like I say, do hit those like and subscribe buttons for more of these videos. Thank you very much, take care, and I look forward to hearing from you soon. Bye bye.